This is a film that Miles Tepper is making to chronicle my experiences in World War II. In this area, and after a couple of days, we got on a train that went all the way across France. It was what they call the 40 and 8. It carried 40 men or 8 horses. And we went across France. That took us about 5 or 6 days. And we landed then in near Strasbourg. And it was just there, outside of Strasbourg, a little town called Luneville was where we first went into combat. The next day or a couple days after that, we attacked a little town which was nothing but 4 farmhouses on the corners of an intersection. And we went into one of the houses and we looked out the window, and after hearing some very heavy machinery outside, we looked out and we saw there were 3 big tanks. We subsequently learned they were Tiger Royal tanks. We were an infantry company. We didn't know how to fight tanks. The Tiger Royal tank is the most highly armored tank there is. It was the best tank in the German army. It was probably the best tank in any army. The Germans had the best tank. They had the best gun, which was the 88 millimeter gun, called the 88. And each tank had an 88 on it, and the 88s were mounted on many other things besides that. At any rate, we looked down at this tank, and in the hayloft with me was a guy by the name of Joe Matisky, whose name I mentioned to you before, who was our bazooka man. And we realized that we couldn't hit this tank above the tracks like we were supposed to. So we hit it wherever we could hit it, and he held the bazooka and I put a round in the back of it. He fired it, and it hit the tank, and a massive amount of sparks flew wildly away from the tank, made a tremendous noise, and we looked down at the tank and he was turning around, and the next thing we knew we were looking down the barrel of an 88, and we decided we better get out of there. So we headed for the stairway, and he fired before we got to the stairway, and his shell went past us, didn't explode inside of the hayloft, went through the hayloft, and exploded when it got outside of the hayloft, which was very lucky for us. He fired a second one, but by the time he did, we were downstairs and we were in the basement. There were a couple of guys still up there in the attic trying to get out. In the confusion, I don't know whether they got out or not, but we got down to the basement, and the CO realized that there were 2 tanks covering this crossroad, and we had to get out of there, and we had to go behind one of the tanks. And he said, "Let's get out of here right now." And we said to the captain, "Captain, there may be 2 guys still up there. We're not sure. And they might be dead or they might not." And he said, "If we don't get out of here in the next 3 seconds, we're all going to be dead. So go." And we ran, scattered out the back, and one tank fired its machine guns at us, 50 caliber machine guns on tanks, but he didn't hit any of us. We got through it, and we got out of there.